Hi guys, today I haven't made a video in a while, so I got bored and decided I was going to make a gun cleaning video. Since I have lots of guns and I'm an avid gun enthusiast and usually pretty good at taking apart and cleaning them and putting them back together, I decided to do a gun video. But to start, I decided I wanted to do it on my rarest gun of all, a gun that most people have never even seen in their life. So, here it is. That's the whole gun. Now you might be asking yourself, where's the rest of it? Well, this is actually a survival gun. There's two different types of survival guns you typically see. 22 and a 22-410 combination. This one here is only a 22. It's completely waterproof, it floats, and it breaks down all inside this stock. And I'll show you how it goes together. As you can see, the butt end just pops off. Your magazine, the action, and this one's going to be one hand, the barrel. Now, anybody knows how to clean a barrel, so we're not going to get into that today. It's just run it down, wipe it down with oil. Not really all that complicated. So, we'll slide that thing back in there. And the magazine, this particular magazine does not break apart because it's 22 caliber though. So squirt a little oil inside it. So we're not going to worry about that either. Since the stock's plastic, we don't need to clean it. So, even though this is a rifle, I can do it on one little small table. Because the only thing we're cleaning today is the action. As you can see, I've already loosened the screw because it's really very hard to do this with two hands, or with only one hand I should say. Now this particular one just has an access panel. There's nothing else on it that pops off. You can pop the safety out and stuff like that, but it's just not needed in this particular video. Ow. Gently pry off that, and there you go. There's the action. Now, I've already been through this gun a couple of times and cleaned it, so honestly, it's not that dirty. But I wanted to show you how to do it. First and most important thing is know your gun before you get into this. There's a lot of small moving parts that are sometimes very expensive and a lot of times hard to find or impossible to find. So don't just start flinging things off and flicking things off and pulling things off unless you know what the hell you're doing. Like for example, that little spring right there, that might be hard to find. Now granted, that's only to eject the magazine, but it still might be a little bit hard to find because if it's not cut the right way, every time you hit this, it'll just fling out. Then your magazine will just fall out willy-nilly. This spring here, you lose this. That's a specifically bent spring. That's two-sided, hooks around an edge, and hooks on both sides of this little pin right there. The big things, especially since this is a survival gun, you got to look for is grime and dirt. Grime and dirt jam up a gun something fierce. And seeing as this gun is strictly used for survival uses, in my father's case, he never specifically used it for survival. He took it on float trips. Made sense because the gun floated. But it had a lot of really fine silt where it had been dropped in the river, and even though it's supposed to be waterproof, anything inside the water long enough, it'll get in there one way or another. And if I knew my father well enough back then, he was in his drinking days, he probably wasn't paying too close attention, seeing if that buttstock was all the way on. So, first thing I'll do is I'll take the tension off, get my hand out of the way, off this spring right here. That's just as simple as undo it there. Pull it down out of the way. Next thing is we have to slide the trigger off. Remember, be very careful because there is a spring underneath there, and it will try to flip off. And those pins, see how that one fell? You don't want to lose those, so keep your parts separate so you don't knock them off with your hands or anything like that. Take the rest of the tension off that spring. Now, unfortunately, what comes next is this little pin right there inside that spring's got to be pulled. This is kind of a two-handed job. I'm going to try to do it one-handed, but I don't know how well it's going to work. Yeah, switch to my right hand, maybe that'll work. Nope, got the pin out. That's your pin right there. It's got a long end on one end, short end on the other. Short end goes out, and that's what lines it up. And that little hole right there lines up your cover plate. Alright, next thing we're going to go ahead and take the magazine eject off because it's kind of in the way of everything. So what we do, alright, couldn't quite do that one one-handed, but I'll show you what I did. Crap. Let me find my magnetic pin. There we go. Alright, basically, with that spring in there, I just put my finger firmly on top of that spring, and I wiggled that bar out. Get that out of the way here. I wiggled this bar back and forth until I could slide it over top of this edge right here, where I'm rubbing against. And then I just released spring tension slowly so it didn't fly out. Pulled this off, pulled that out with my hands. It didn't fall out that time. Next is this action right here. Forgive me for my camera angles here. I'm doing this with my cell phone. But this action right here has to come out. Now it's around a little kick out. I don't know if you can see, it's underneath that second set of springs down there. And it's really tight tolerance, so you got to really work at it. So I'm going to have to turn the camera off for that.